Hello guys and girls, welcome to the video. um, this is my new acquisition, the 555 Dual Beam, and for those who are familiar with the unit, this is the power supply, which is external and separate. I just acquired it. I didn't open it yet. Just wanted to shoot the video right from the beginning so that you can see how it gets restored. The power supply is pretty heavy as usual, and got a lot of dust, rust, and whatnot. So let's open this guy up. Mm, that's a lot of space inside. Not as bad as I was expecting it to be. And this is the other side. There you go. Quick close-up scan. It's a main transformer, I guess. You can see one more. I'll explain it later with the schematics. This is the connector which plugs into the main chassis to deliver power, and that's the input AC power line. A quick note, this is the connector which plugs the power supply to the main oscilloscope. So one end of it goes here and the other part goes into the oscilloscope. What I'm going to do next is to strip this guy down and clean everything and put it back together, test all the components, replace whatever necessary, and make it electricity worthy, and move on to the main scope. You could try powering it up directly, but I don't do that because this is totally from an unknown condition. So I would prefer to test things before I power it up. Okay, let's continue. And that is the main oscilloscope. Very typical, lots of labels, dust, but fairly in good condition. That's the top side of it. And as always, safety first. These straps can snap, so be careful. You can see this one is already snapped, so make sure that you do some sort of reinforcement before you carry these things around. And this is an example why you should not trust these straps. I was almost about to drop this oscilloscope into my foot. That's the rear side of it. Beam control for both the beams and fan. And that's the power input from the power supply unit. Let's get inside this guy. There you go. HV cage. It's not as bad as I was expecting it to be. It seems to be pretty clean. The delay line and the 6DK6 farm here seems to be quite heavily used, as the tubes are kind of slightly close to being black. Let's pop open the other side. Exact same. I should admit that this has been one of the cleanest, cosmetically cleanest units I've picked up. Not too much of dust or debris inside. It's the top side of it for records. And if you're curious what is sitting behind this guy, That's a 585 rack mount waiting to be restored. So I'm going to do the same procedure for this guy as well. To strip it down, clean it completely, put things back together, and start troubleshooting and restoring it. So this came with a type L and H vertical, and 22 and 21 time base. Power supply is being cleaned now, and all the tubes are cleaned, interior is cleaned, all the panels are washed. Even the rear panel is totally cleaned, as well as the fan is lubricated. And this is the underside of the power supply. All the passives, ceramic strips, and wiring sits here. Those are the connections from the transformers. The rectifier diodes, current limiting resistors, and the inductor. Now this is ready for restore and repair. Totally cleaned and reassembled. That's a plug-in out from the unit. This is a type L vertical plug-in. And as you can see, it's a bit dusty. Two big caps, of course they would need some attention, otherwise it's fairly clean. Okay, there you go. There's potentially a paper capacitor here that would need some work. Of course the strap is cracked, that also needs to be replaced. So let's start with the cleaning. So I'm gonna take all the knobs off, clean the knobs, clean the unit, and then we will look at the electrical side of it. That's a second plug-in, type H. As always, very typical, but I would say kind of clean, especially on the bottom side of it. So let's clean this guy up as well. That's the plug-in, type L, after cleaning. The underside of it. That's the second plug-in, type H. That's the underside. Okay, now it's the time base, type 22. Quite a lot of dust inside. So and this side seems to be really clean. So let's clean this up. As you can see, I have cleaned both the horizontal plugins. Okay, now we are done with the plugins and the power supply. So let's get to the main chassis, or the indicator unit, so called. So I'm going to take this off. I'm going to wash these panels. I'm going to remove all the knobs and clean them as well. I've already removed the bezel, the front bezel. Remove this panel as well. This also needs to be cleaned. So I'm going to wash it. Once again, that's the rear side. I have removed the air filter and cleaned it separately. It's again, I just washed it. And as you know, this is the connector coming from the power supply unit. So once I'm done with the panels, I'm going to wash this as well. This is the air filter. That's a frame, and that's the actual filter. Again, plain warm water and soap. That's all I've used. And it was not really dusty. There was dirt in it, but it was not in a real bad shape. I mean, I've seen worse ones than this. So this is anyway done. So let's go ahead. The reasons I clean the knob is, as you can see, the amount of dust which is sitting in the knobs between the grooves. Even on this, you see. So I like to get them cleaned before I start working on it. That's the reason I clean all the knobs. And this is after cleaning. Even the panels, they have old labels, glue, and all the dust and dirt accumulated over the years. This one is much cleaner inside. And here they are after cleaning. Yes, I'm gonna take out the handlebar as well for cleaning, and that will give me access to some portion of the CRT cover as well. You have to take out the screws, of course, in the front and back, and there's two ports and the calibration panel attached to it, so you have to unscrew them as well, and it comes out. And watch out for these leads to make sure that they don't touch the ground when you put it back. This is a very classic issue. Even 549 has got a lead going out like this, which could potentially touch the chassis and short the connection. So just watch out for these if you're taking out the handlebar. That's a close-up view of the whole CRT. Well, the CRT in frame. And this is after cleaning the top and the CRT cover. And you can see the knobs are clean. There's no dust in the grooves. This is after cleaning the front panel and putting all the knobs back. I've cleaned the plug-in bays as well because they were kind of dirty. We will go inside the scope later, but I'm just cleaning wherever I have access right now. With the exterior cleaning, now this is the only portion which is remaining, the rear side, and we're going to clean this now. This is how the real panel looks after the initial cleaning. It has to go through one more round of cleaning with IP, and then I'll put the cover back in. I've already cleaned the base for the plugins, so that is clean. All what is remaining is this portion and all the switches and a little bit around the top and the HV cage. So I'll get that done. Let's see how dusty this is. And what difference the interior cleaning makes to the oscilloscope. This is a section which is yet to be cleaned. You can see it's literally mud inside it. I've removed the caps from these capacitors. And let's go back to the other side and see a portion which I've cleaned. And you can see the difference. That's the transformer. It's not the power transformer, it's the transformer for heater supply to all the tubes in the chassis. I'll discuss that later when we get into the electrical restoration. That's the rear panel after cleaning. And let me insert the fan, or sorry, the air filter and that makes the cleaning complete. So here is the unit after the cleanup. Put all the plugins back into the base. That's the rear side. And the top. And a quick tour of the interior. For those of who were wondering what this is the delay line for each beam. There's one on the other side as well. That's a view from the other side. that is the interconnect between both of them. This is supposed to be sitting in a rack. I'm going to move this into a, not a rack, I mean a trolley or a cart. I'll be moving it into a cart soon so that I can start working on it. The electrical restoration. So what I'm going to do is, I'll start with the power supply unit first, fix this, test it, bring it back to life, and then we will come back and fix the indicator unit of the oscilloscope. And then finally we will put it together and see how it comes up together. Okay. So finally we are ready to start the electrical restoration. So for reference, this is called as the indicator unit, and of course this is the power supply. That's the definition they have used all throughout the documentation, so we will follow the same. So every time you hear indicator unit, it means the actual scope, and that's the power supply. So this is the finish of part 1, where I've just done the cleaning. Now I'm going to go to part 2, which is going to be the power supply repair. So stay tuned. I'm going to keep uploading videos as I progress on each step, and as much as possible I'll try to show you the relevant signals and points which you're supposed to check on or test on if you're trying to work on one of these. And as always, please do take care, because this is really dangerous to work on. So if you're not familiar with high voltage vacuum tube stuff, please do not attempt this. Thank you.